Hi, everybody, and welcome to Lake County Sentinel Sports Extra, Cleveland Guardians Weekly Report. No analytics here. I'm your host, Tim Shirer, TB Bucks Tim on Twitter or X, whatever you call it. But, this is the final regular season edition of the Guardians Weekly Report. We've been here all year, and let's hope we're here for about 4 more weeks after today. I have to be honest. I'm not a clairvoyant, but I sometimes have a feeling one way or the other how a team's going to do, like a sports team I root for. And the Guardians are no different. Absolutely do I want them to make the playoffs. But even though they're tied for the third wild card right now, past each, if they were to take 2 out of 3, they would win the season series. I don't know. In the back of my mind now, I have this feeling they're not going to make it. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. But I just have that feeling. I can't shake it. But I have been wrong before. I remember waking up in 95. Actually, 97. Game 7 against the, felt like this is the day we get the World Series championship. And it didn't happen. So I was wrong then. I've been wrong before. I'd like to think that even though I am a fan, I'm not going to deny that. I'd like to say I look at things objectively. Sometimes I don't, but I'd like to think I do. Honestly, my gut feeling is this week will not go well and they will not make the playoffs. I don't know why I have that feeling. I hope I'm wrong. But let's get to the show. Let's stay positive. Let's hope I'm proven wrong by the end of the week. I'm gonna say this too. If you're a Cleveland sports fan, if you are a true Cleveland sports fan, and you want to spend your sports dollars wisely, take some of that money that you might spend on the Browns in December when they're out of it, and they will be out of it, okay? They will be out of the playoffs by December. Spend some of that money and go to a Guardians game this week. The price of Browns tickets, you probably could go to 2 or 3 Guardians games this week. So I have to be honest. They sold out last week in Detroit on school nights. Oh my gosh. Imagine that. The soft generation went to baseball games on a school night. Oh, what a concept. Is Detroit better than us? Fan-wise? Sometimes I wonder about these other cities. Because we fall in immediate traps of Oh, the Dolans are cheap. We don't want to spend money on the Dolans, but we'll spend money on Haslam and his team's product. That series this week has got to sell out. It is a 100% in of the Cleveland fan base, Cleveland sports fans. If that series does not sell out, if every seat field and the drink rails, if they're not sold out this week, shame on the Cleveland fans. And money on a loser. The team playoffs and has had an amazing comeback this season. This series has to sell out, or it's going to make you look bad. It will make Cleveland sports fans look terrible if this Tigers series does not sell out. And then if they're still in it after that series, the Texas series should sell out. I don't care if the Browns are playing now or not. As I was told yesterday by my son, you can root for both. And he's 100% right. But if you're going to spend money right now on a team, spend money on the team that's going to possibly make you happy in the end, not the team that's going to disappoint you. That's all I got to say. Sell it out. Sell it out. Let's move on. The Guardians are 84-72. One game out of the first place in the American League Central. They currently hold the third wild card because they have the tiebreaker over Houston because they won the season series. One game behind Boston for the second wild card spot. But starting Friday, we will be Boston fans. Unless the Guardians get swept by the Tigers, then it's done. They can't win the division then. But we could become Red Sox fans on Friday. Boy, that's hard to say. But if it helps the Guardians get in the playoffs or win the division, I'm all for it. So they're one game behind the second wild card. They're 4 behind the Yankees for the first wild card. So that probably isn't going to happen. But and I don't know, do we want the second wild card? Then we play the Yankees, but I still think we can beat the Yankees. I know everybody in Cleveland is afraid of the Yankees. It's ridiculous. You're going to beat them at some point. Why not this year? So, but the Guardians are 9-1 in their last 10 games, 15-2 in the last 17 games, and they are 44-20 since July 7th. Since on July 6th, they lost their 10th straight. We all thought the season was over. I remember coming on here and just ripping them apart. And then, like Tom Hamilton explained it like beautifully on the radio, or described it beautifully on the radio. Something happened on that plane. Something happened on that plane ride to Houston where they decided we are not done yet. And they went on this incredible tear. 20 games over 500 since that day. They didn't look like they could be 5 games under 500 the rest of the season. And they're 20 over since July 7th, since the plane ride to Houston. So, it's been an incredible, 68 game stretch? Probably like 73 days, 74 days maybe for fans. 76 days, actually. It's been amazing. This is what makes the baseball season amazing compared to other sports, the ups and downs. Rarely in football, when a team is do they make the are they in contention for the playoffs that last game? It's hard to recover. In basketball, around 500, you make the playoffs in the NBA, yeah. And probably in hockey too. But baseball is completely different. They were in fourth place on that day. They were 15 and a half games out of first place. And now they have a chance to win the division. That's crazy. But it will not be easy, people. It will not be easy this upcoming week. It's not going to be a walk in the park. This is not going to be a walk in the park. I don't care what park it is. It's not going to be a walk in the park at Edgewater. It's not going to be a walk in the park at Colby Park, where I live. It's not going to be a walk in a Metro Park. If they make the playoffs, they're going to earn it this week. Okay, they will. And we'll get to the reviewing this week and the pitching probables in a second here. But let's recap last week. The amazing 6-1 week. The amazing 6-1 week that I predicted 4-3. Wrong again. There we go. That happens a lot. So 3-0 in Detroit. The Guardians still have a -9 run differential, which is incredible, down from -81 on July 6th. Yeah. So, but they swept Detroit in Detroit last week, outscored them 14-6, a plus of 8 in the run differential category, and just really went in there and took it. They did. It was crazy. They got to school. Well, they got to everybody. They got to every Detroit pitcher they faced, basically. And it was just, it was crazy. And then they go to Minnesota and face the hapless Twins. Yeah, they are the hapless Minnesota Twins. Hapless. What direction are they going? Oh, down. They deserve everything we give them, because that fan base, that media group, that team, they are a bunch of crap talkers. And I love beating up on the Minnesota Twins. I love it. Guardians went in and took 3 out of 4 at Target Field. It's probably the only thing nice about that city organization, any fan base, anything, is that they have a nice ballpark. Target Field looks nice. People who've been there told me that it's a nice place. That's it, though. Besides that, there's nothing. There's nothing. Can't stand the team. Can't stand the fan base. Can't stand their media. What a bunch of crap talkers their media is. When you're lousy, you don't talk crap about the teams ahead of you. Maybe you should learn that and keep your mouths shut. But they don't. They keep talking crap. So the Guardians outscored them 22-8 in that series, plus 14 on the in the run differential. So they gained 22 in the run differential on the weekend. They left Cleveland -31. Now they're -9. I still feel like they have to get it above. You can't be a playoff team and have a minus run differential. You just can't do it. I don't think you can. You just can't. And you're not going to make the playoffs in the NHL or the NBA if you score less than you give up. So I think they got to get that plus minus thing. If they get that plus minus thing over, then they're going to make the playoffs because it's still -9. So if they get that up, mark my word right here, if they get that into the plus, they will make the playoffs. So the series coming up with Detroit this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is it, folks. This is it. Get out. Detroit's 85-71, 1-9 in their last 10 games. They've lost 6 straight. That started with the Guardians sweep, and then they got swept this weekend by Atlanta, who's not a terrible team. They're not going to be in the playoffs, but they're not a bad team. We saw that when the Guardians played them. That was ugly. So they're still a plus 73, one game ahead of the Guardians, of course, in the standings. The Guardians have won 6. They have a 6-4 edge on them in the season series. They have to take 1 to win the season series, but taking 2 of 3 is what they need to do in my mind. It's what they need to do in my mind. They can't let Detroit leave town even having a 1-game lead. They have to either be tied or 1 game up on Detroit when Detroit leaves town. So that's what I think. We got the pitching matchups for the series are Gavin Williams against Tariq Skubal in game 1. And in game 2, we have Bybee versus Flaherty. Please, good Bybee, keep showing up. Please, good Bybee, keep showing up. And then in the final game of the series, the Tigers, that trickster AJ Hinch, he hasn't named his pitcher yet. Yeah, he's a trickster, that guy. He's the smartest guy in the room. He's the smartest manager ever to manage a game, and he'll pretty much tell you that himself. He hasn't named a starter for the final game of the series. But Parker Messick will start for the Guardians. And, I mean, what's he been? Let's hope he can continue to pitch the way he has. He has been a breath of fresh air. And look, I mean, ERA under 2. It's been an amazing beginning to his major league career, and let's hope it continues. Let's hope it continues through Thursday, and hopefully gets a chance to pitch in October. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be against starting him in October if they make it. The guy has no fear. The guy has no fear. He just goes out there and pitches. And, Cleveland sports fans, always like to compare things to the Browns. Well, I'm going to compare him to a former Brown. He kind of reminds me of Baker Mayfield. Might have a little bit of a cleaner mouth. He doesn't seem to, he's a very, he's a religious person, Parker Messick, and looks like he doesn't swear. But he's kind of that same mentality as Baker Mayfield. Like, yeah, you tell me I can't do it, I'm going to do it. Yeah, tell me I'm not that good. I love his attitude on the mound. He goes right at hitters. How can you not like Parker Messick? I mean, really, how could you not like the guy? Yeah, everything about him seems to be really good. And, we'll see. Hopefully it's really good on Thursday. So we have then it doesn't, I mean, yes, the Texas Rangers are great at home and they're not as good on the road. Okay, we know that. We know, but they're still good. They've got a really good lineup. They've got a really nice pitching staff that's getting healthy finally. I don't want to say Max Scherzer's washed up because as soon as I say that, he will pitch great against the Guardians if he pitches. But they are 32-46 on the road, the Texas Rangers. So the Guardians have to take advantage of that. And the Guardians at home are 41-34. So the way it evens out there, the Guardians should at least take 2 out of 3, right? If they take 2 out of 3 from Detroit and they take 2 out of 3 from Texas, I think they'll probably win the division because I can't see Detroit going to Boston and sweeping Boston. I just can't see that happening. I just don't see that happening in any way. So, but they, I believe that the starters, Texas is 79-77. They're 5 games back in the wild card race. So they're really, they're fighting for their lives. So by the time they get to Cleveland, they'll probably be eliminated. You never know though. So, but they have the slimmest of hope. They have to win every game, and pretty much everybody in front of them, Boston, Cleveland, have to lose every game. So they're pretty much done, but that doesn't mean they'll come in here and not play hard. But the starters, I think, for the Guardians are Cantillo, Allen, and then Ciccone is what I believe it will be. Those, all 3 of them have been pitching well. I mean, Logan Allen, man, we buried that guy. I'm not going to lie. I buried that guy last year. I said he's terrible. He's horrible, and I was wrong. Once again, that's why I'm not the GM. But and Ciccone, he had a good July, a rotten and horrible August. And then he's rebounded here in September, and let's hope he can keep it going. And then Joey Cantillo, he's another one that I really didn't have a lot of hope in, and he's pitched well too. Him and Allen still scare me a little, but a lot less than they used to. So I think that's the pitching rotation against Texas. Cantillo, Allen, and then Ciccone. And then look, who are they going to throw? Hopefully DeGrom pitches before the weekend. Hopefully Scherzer pitches before the weekend. They got a lot of good pitching in that later. Hopefully he pitches before the weekend because he did pitch very well against the Guardians. Probably one of his better starts of the year. So, but I don't think so. I think he pitched yesterday, if I'm not if I'm correct. So he'll probably pitch against the Guardians, but later that is. But Texas is a good team. Okay, they won the World Series 2 years ago, so it's not like they're some team, hoping to be in the playoffs. They've been to the top of that mountain, right? That we've never been to in our lifetimes, unless you're 78 years old. If you're 78, you probably don't remember it. If you're in your 80s, you remember it probably. But let's get that out of there. Come on, let's make the playoffs, and let's do it this year. Let's make the playoffs, and let's do it this year. Why not? Just because you spend money doesn't guarantee you success. It's proven over and over again. It is proven over and over again. Okay. So I want to say a little bit about the guys that have come up this month, and really in the last 2 months. Messick, obviously, we already talked about Parker Messick. I also hate that Nick Enright is injured right now because he's had an amazing year, coming back from everything he did, and now he's hurt. Now he's on the IL, and that sucks because he was becoming a reliable part of that bullpen too. It was just a feel-good story at first, but then it became, hey, this guy's pretty good. You know what I mean? So, but the offensive players, Noel came back. He's hit a couple home runs since he's been back. George Valera, if he just stays healthy, I feel like he has Manny Ramirez potential. I really do. If he just can stay healthy. Petey Halpin, I wasn't really impressed with him when I saw him at Lake County. A lot of other people were. He's called it. We got a couple good hits on the weekend that helped on Saturday. And then, CJ Kafis, who came up beginning of July or beginning of August, he struggled a little at times, but he's also played really well at times. He had a good series. He had a good road trip. So, and none of these guys play every day. So that's difficult too. So, but, not playing every day. And, but they've contributed, and it's great how they've contributed. Stephen Kwan, his defense. How many runs did it save on that road trip? In Detroit, in that spacious outfield. Oh my God. So that was really, he's amazing. He's a Gold Glover. I'd love it if they signed him to an extension, but if reports are true that he would rather play closer to home, I can't blame him. I'm just sick of people ignoring that fact. If the guy doesn't want to sign here because he wants to play closer to his family, then it's not the owner's fault. It's not. So, but Quan is amazing defensively. He's not hit as well this year as he has in the past, but, the streaks have been longer where he hasn't hit, but his defense it saves runs. Okay. Nolan Jones, look, I complained about him all year. I feel bad the guy's on the IL to end the season. That's how Petey Halpin got called up. But I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say that they're, this hurts. No, I think they're better without him. I hope he, gets better. And if he plays here or wherever he plays next year, and honestly, I hope it's not here. I hope he goes somewhere else. I hope he's healthy, but it sucks for him this late in the year to get injured like that, and oblique too. You're not coming back from that soon. So I think that's going to be it for this show. I'm going to be here next Monday no matter what. We're going to have a show next Monday, whether it'll be a playoff preview or it'll just be recapping the season. Let's hope it's a playoff preview. I still don't think the front office should be left off the hook for their bad off season, though. Even though this has turned and they're making a playoff run here, I still think that the front office needs to be held accountable for a bad postseason that they had, bad off season they had last year. So we will see you next week, and let's hope it's playoff edition. So until next time, I'm Tim Shirer. Have a good week, everybody, and let's just say it. Why not? Because a tribe can be anything. Until next week, go Tribe.